Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about the synastry aspects of Moon trine Mercury and Moon sextile to Mercury. These are aspects that I would consider very underrated synastry aspects. They're maybe not as exciting as some of the other ones you can have, but if you do have them, they're a really great blessing because you are able to communicate in such a natural way that really creates like this feeling of even inner child healing, especially for the moon person too, because the moon is going to represent our inner child, our feelings, and our deeper emotional self, our feminine self, our fluctuating self. And the moon person can feel really understood by the Mercury person without having to try to explain things. It's like the Mercury person just finds the words to say what they're feeling. And actually, this is going kind of both ways with that too. There's a real natural energy around communication and a real comforting energy around communication where it's easy to kind of pick up where you left off. If you haven't talked for a long time and you just talk to this person, it's like, it's just like two old buddies chatting it up. And also, there is like a childlike energy with the communication, like a lighthearted, childlike, playful energy here. And it's very easy to talk about our day. Like, I did this today, and, I'm going to be doing this. Like, so you can talk about deeper emotional things, but you can also talk about just the very superficial things. And, I think I said this about the conjunction of Moon Mercury, where it's like you're sending each other memes all day. And, like, there's that kind of easy flow where you kind of just naturally like to check in on each other. What are you up to? What are you up to? And it's not boring to have these small talk conversations when we have Moon trine or sextile Mercury. Moon trine Mercury is so effortless that you actually might not even notice that you have this harmony because it's not something you think about. It's just like you're just talking away like with an old friend, and there's just a lot of ease and comfort. It's so natural you might even miss it. The sextile is even more active. It's more obvious that you have it. You'll be easily able to recognize, okay, I've got this really good flow with this person. The only downside of these aspects that I found is that they are so easy that you might just assume that this person will agree with you on everything. Like, for example, like you have such good communication, you feel like you can just share, and it's so easy that you might end up sharing something. And if you have other harsh synastry aspects, like, Venus squares or, Pluto squares going on somewhere else, you might misinterpret and think that this person is so chill, they're so cool with everything you're going to say. But if there's harsher stuff in other areas, you might actually just assume this person just understands you. They're not going to misinterpret you. You have this great ease and flow of communication, but yet maybe in other areas you don't. Now, that would be interpreted by the whole synastry, right? Not just this one aspect, but that's something you got to look out for with a really easy flowing trine like this. Is sometimes the moon too is such an emotional, instinctual planet. You might just assume, okay, the Mercury person, they just get it, they go along with everything. Well, maybe they mentally understand what you're saying, but maybe you have differences elsewhere that still need to be talked about. So that's a good point of advice for this trine or the sextile, is like, even though you think you guys understand each other so great, you still got to be clear, right? Just because it's so natural, you still want to always share and not just expect that they're just going to intuitively pick it up or get it, right? Even though most of the time you do. And if the rest of the synastry shows other compatibilities, you definitely do. But it's just when the rest of the synastry shows like harsher things, you might not think that you have to talk about it because you have this really good thing going on here with communication. But maybe you still need to talk about it. But with these aspects, you're going to be able to talk about it too. It's just to remember to. and know that it's still important to keep that line of communication open. And even though you do have this real intuitive understanding, there could still be other areas that you don't, right? Like all relationships. But yeah, overall, like these are some of the best aspects you can see in a synastry chart for long-term relationship, because you're able to understand each other. You're able to bring out a very expressive side to each other. The moon person, like I said, it's like their emotions are just voiced by Mercury. And then the Mercury person is like able to communicate so effortlessly, and the moon person deepens their understandings on things. Like the moon person sees their habits and quirks in like the most loving way possible, and they're able to see themselves better because of the moon person, and vice versa. Like Mercury too to the moon, like they're able to see their emotional patterns and what kind of habits they have as well, like, and what they act like around the home life or around the home. Like there's just a real gentle harmony here with these two planets, where we just kind of laugh at each other. Like we don't, as much as we would with other aspects, we don't take offense to the quirks and the weird way that each other breathes, or the weird habits that we have around the home if we live together. These things are all good. And yeah, it's definitely a really good one for friendship. We're able to give each other a lot of grace with these aspects. We feel safe, we feel at home with each other, which is just such a gift. These are one of these aspects that I would say are like nervous system relaxers, right? And you could have other things going on in the synastry that are going to show that maybe you're activated in other ways, but these aspects can really show that being with this person is like something to relax your nervous system, something to allow you to open up in new ways, see things in new ways, because you feel safe, because you feel seen, because you feel heard, right? So on a very deep level, there can be some form of, yeah, like I said, inner child healing or reprogramming in, deep subconscious patterns, but all happening in a very gradual or easy way. So it's not like you have to go through this whole emotional thing. And maybe you do, because maybe you've also got Pluto square moon or something. But like as far as these aspects go, it's not like the healing comes from like this crisis. It's actually just an ease of understanding. And if you haven't had that before, if you haven't felt seen before, if you haven't felt truly understood before, these aspects are really going to feel like soulmate aspects. They're going to feel like you've found someone who you don't have to change who you are. You don't have to speak a different way or feel a different way or try to put on a mask to be something different. They just get it. They just get you. And you can talk about whatever is going through your head. You can give a voice to all of it, and they're going to be here for you, and they're going to want to hear about all of that. And then just even that, like that causes an opening in yourself. That promotes growth. That is healing. So, like I said, these are some of the most underrated synastry aspects. Great communication, emotional communication. It is like the childlike energy that comes out here. It could feel parental, even. It could feel a bit like we're mothering each other a bit, or not necessarily, because then it can also feel like siblings too. But there is that element of family healing here. There's an element of safety and an energy that, like, yeah, we can be ourselves. So maybe there's a bit of like father healing or mother healing or family healing or fourth house healing or whatever's going on. There's definitely an opportunity for some deeper healing. And if you do end up living together, it can show that that is a more harmonious thing. That's an easier to agree on energy, how to set up our home, how to deal with the day to day stuff of life. There's not going to be too many disagreements on things like that. So it's really nice to have one of these like best friend aspects, one of these like amazing aspects for communication. Really nothing bad about it except like what I said. You might just assume because you get along so good and you communicate so well, and it's kind of like an unspoken communication at times, although you can definitely speak to, but you might just automatically assume that like this person gets something when other squares in your synastry show they actually don't. So you still have to communicate it, right? But yeah, great aspects. Definitely stabilizers in the synastry chart where like you throw in some aspects like this, especially if this is like a double whammy aspect or something, and it's like you can talk about it. Whatever you got going on, you can talk about it, and that is a gift. And yeah, these are really nice ones to see. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of these aspects in synastry if you've had them. What has it been like for you? I'd love to know. Thank you for watching, you guys. Love you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.